episode of the Habibis. Three game developers drinking good Arab tea. My name is Rama Ismail. I'm your host for today.
And I'm Osama Dorias. And today we have a very special guest, my friend Mo Al-Khatib. Uh,
Hello.
hey, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
So Mo and I go way back. We met at Gameloft, actually. When my first job in the industry, we worked briefly together. What was that? 2009?
It must have been around 2010, 9, 11, somewhere there.
Yeah, something like that. It was a while ago. And you were a 3D artist at that time. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mo? Take it away.
Sure. Hi. I met you. I think I was a 3D artist, but I was freelancing for Gameloft for the motion design section. So I was working with the trailer people, not the game dev people.
Yep.
But we had a few mutual friends, and we met over lunch a couple times.
Yes. What do you do these days?
Yeah, so I co-founded an indie studio called Artifact 5. We're working on our next game right now.
Is it top secret, or can you spill all the beads? Can we get
I
the scoop?
can spill all the deeds actually, and we have a big milestone coming up this week, which I think will be before the podcast comes up. But our Steam page is launching on Tuesday.
Wow. Well,
Nice.
Thank you.
So, for those of you who are wondering, wow, Fawzi sounds different and has a different name and a different career. Fawzi couldn't make it today, and he's had quite a period of time, so I can understand that he's taking a little bit of time off from additional responsibilities like the Habibis.
Yes.
But
we miss him very much, though, and we'll probably mention him many times this week.
Right. We are entirely here to celebrate his achievements. So if you're listening to this with Fawzi, Mabruk again with the launch of a video game.
Elf Mabruk, one of the biggest video games of the year.
A video game. It's just a video game.
Well, it is a miracle that
shooting things.
it's a miracle that any game gets made. So
right,
we should celebrate that regardless.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. What have you been up to this week, Rami?
I just airplane, so maybe I can talk about airplanes for the next 30 minutes, or we can start with other people, and then I'll see how much airplanes I can fit in whatever time I have left. It's probably better. How about we start with our guest? How about we bring some good old Arab hospitality back in here?
All right, give it a
Mo,
shot.
what are you up to?
So I usually have 2 games I'm playing at any point. Usually a shooter that I play with friends, and this week it's Battlefield for sure.
Yeah.
Before that was Call of Duty.
Hear that?
You got a fan.
Yeah, definitely. And then I have a single player game I play between those friend sessions. And right now I'm playing Dicey Dungeon.
Ooh, Terry's game. Yeah, that's a good game.
Yeah, it just hit Game Pass, I think. I didn't play the game on console. I only played it on PC. But for all those who have Game Pass there, we're doing our obligatory plug, right?
We really need that sponsorship.
Yeah. What do you think of Dicey Dungeon? Is it the first time you play it?
No, I played it before when it first came out a bit, but I saw it on Game Pass and I was like, oh, I gotta play it again. I'm a big roguelike player, so anything roguelike, I'll eat it up.
Yes, as am I. I'm a big fan of the genre. Dicey Dungeon is special.
It's so elegant and how it seems shallow at the beginning, but then the depth. The more you play, the more you realize there's so much to do.
So much in that game. It never stops.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I played some Battlefield this week too. And
Fawzi, 2 out of 2.
So far, right? We haven't spoken yet. I absolutely love getting into the vehicles. It's my favorite. That's the reason I play Battlefield. The tanks and the helicopters, and I had a blast. I'm not very coordinated for the driving part, so I'm actually the person who's happy to sit on top and shoot things with the mounted weapons and let someone else do the driving.
You're a rare breed.
It's totally okay, but that's why we should queue up, squat up, and play together, because I'll do the role that most people don't want to do.
Fair. I'll play with you. I can drive.
Yeah, I didn't say I can't drive. I said I prefer not to. Or I don't remember what I said. We'll check it out.
I feel those mean the same thing.
I'm not okay. Fine. I'm not great at driving in these games. Actually, speaking of which, I played Halo as well.
Oh, I haven't had time to play that yet.
Yes,
Is it on Game Pass?
it's a yeah, yes, it's on Game Pass, and it's really good as you'd expect. The one thing is the driving actually is pretty terrible. I don't know. This is going to be an unpopular opinion where people are going to hate on me, but it feels like the default controls for driving the Warthog are so 1999. They're so like move. It's move the stick, push the stick forward to move forward instead of pressing the trigger to accelerate, and I can't wrap my mind around it to the point that I play Halo only on foot. I'm only infantry because I don't want to get in a vehicle and have to learn how to drive it. And I looked through the menus and I couldn't find a way to change it, so I got a little bit frustrated. I'll go
I do
back to it. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
do agree with you. Like I play it on PC, and it has the same controls that like the first Halo had, where you
Yeah,
steer with your mouse, and yeah, it's
But
pretty
also,
awesome.
could you do something else and not piss off everybody who plays the Warthog?
yeah,
Because like I feel like it's Warthog specific controls, right? Like I feel like
yeah,
every other vehicle in Halo, you can redo the controls, but
yeah.
can't touch the Warthog.
I say no. I say have options. Have a toggle. Switch between two. There's nothing stopping you from having the
I
default
mean,
driving that you can.
you're right, but part of me is like, no, it's the Warthog. It needs to be a mess.
No, I disagree. But I
I,
mean,
I
I
know.
respect
I
your wrong
also
opinion.
disagree. I also disagree with me. For the record, I disagree with me, but there's a little voice inside of me that is like, no, it's the Warthog.
Yeah,
You can't touch the Warthog. It's an icon.
I get
If
you. But it
if it's
just means
bad,
I'm not
it
gonna
stays
drive it
bad.
because I got used to the controls years ago,
That's
and
okay. I'll just splatter you in the Warthog. It's fine.
you will. Everyone else is. Why not jump on?
Just oh, Osama's having a really Warthog negative opinion, right?
I'm doing really well in the other modes in
Right. Yeah,
Halo.
tell me a bit about it because I adore Halo, but
Yeah.
I've been stuck with I've been playing Battlefield. I'm still wrapping up Guardians. I've been doing a lot of Flight Simulator. I've been in real airplanes. I just didn't have the time to grab it and play it. Like, tell me a bit about Halo.
Well, I like the other modes. Okay, let's start with the modes, and then I'll go into the progression. There's capture the flag. I like the way that they set up capture the flag. The When you're running, people can see where you are, and when you're not, like when you're walking or crawling, they don't see where you are. And I see when I say people, I mean the opponents, and that actually adds a different dynamic. I haven't really seen that in any other version of capture the flag in other shooters, but that actually adds an interesting dynamic where it's like if you capture the flag when after shooting people and no one's around, you could do a little bit of sneaking around the map and they don't know where you are. But then when they spot you, everyone spots you, and it creates this like adrenaline moment. Like the highs and lows are really high and really low, and that feels really good. As opposed to a lot, like I used to play a lot of capture the flag in Unreal Tournament, and it's intense all the time. It's high, high, high all the time. Like you're just running, running, running all the time. But this, like, they actually found a way to pace it differently, and I like it. I like it's a small twist, but it makes a very big difference with how you approach, like you know, flag capture. The other mode I played, I cannot remember the name, but it's the one where someone has a ball and whoever has a ball can't shoot, and everyone has to protect him. Nobody knows. Anyway, whatever.
No.
Whatever that mode is called, I actually do really well in that one. Apparently, I'm better at not getting shot than I am at shooting people. So I'll be the one.
A valuable skill.
Yes, especially if this was real life, but even in the game. So I'm the one usually grabbing the ball and staying alive while everybody else is protecting me, and I actually really excelled and did really well in that. So I like these like alternate game modes. I didn't start the campaign, so don't ask me about it. I don't even know if the campaign's available. I think I tried to start it and it said the download didn't complete or it launches later or like that. So I haven't started the campaign yet. But I played a lot of I played a couple hours of the multiplayer mode cycling through them. Now the progression system is set up in a way that I think I played several matches, several before I leveled up the first, and that's usually a no-no in this type of game. And I'm like a shocking no-no because you want someone to level up right away quickly. It's a carrot on the stick, you know. It's the look. This is how it feels like. This is the dopamine rush. You want more of this. So it's a little surprising that it took 3 or 4 matches before I got the first level up, and then the second one looked like it was going to take longer. I only got to like level a few hours of playing, and it's you know how, of course, both of you know how a level up curve works, where each following level takes longer or more XP to reach, but the first one usually comes really quickly. So I have a feeling, and I didn't play it enough to know, that the progression is stretched over too long of a period of time, and when that usually happens, except for the most hardcore players, most people disconnect from it because it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem attainable. And I'm a little surprised at the balancing of that of the so.
I think I already saw some talk online that they are addressing.
Okay, well that would be good news. I mean,
Right.
it's not game breaking. It's not something that would be horrible, but it doesn't do them any good because if people don't feel like they could actually progress, then they'll just play a little bit and stop. They're that compulsion
Right.
to get the next step there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. No, I that was the first thing I saw about the game online, and I was like, oh, how about that?
Yeah.
I also saw a really funny one that was just like Halo is just like Destiny. I'm like, well done, y'all.
They
You
both
figured
have
it out.
the floaty jump. That's
You figured it out. Well done.
For
are
me,
those? Sorry,
Mo?
go ahead.
sorry, no, like I did play Halo a bit, but it was right after playing a lot of Splitgate, which is like inspired by the original Halo.
Hmm.
So it was weird
Mhm.
seeing like a modern inspiration of that genre, and then Halo coming in after, and like seeing where the differences are.
I haven't played Splitgate. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Splitgate is, yeah, it's like a fast-paced shooter. It has inspirations from Halo and Unreal Tournament style of play, so a lot of quick action. But it's more modernized, so that you get jetpacks and portals, um, and it's pretty good portal mechanics. It's a lot like the game Portal, where physics kind of teleport you, like transfers over, and then you can
So
shoot
you keep
portals
your
and
momentum, right? You keep your
yeah.
velocity. Okay.
Yeah, and you can like camp through portals. So if you want to hold an angle, but then like change that angle without moving, you just like throw your portal somewhere else and like be sniping through it.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
yeah, it creates really interesting mechanics, and other people can fly through your portals, and it gets pretty chaotic and a lot of fun.
That sounds like a great time. How did I miss it? I mean, I've heard of it. I just didn't
Yeah, I
get
think
a
it's
try.
free to play on Steam,
Really? Okay.
and they do the progression really well, and the unlocks and stuff. So like when you mentioned the progression in Halo, it sparked the memory of how Splitgate is doing so well.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's good. It's basically like fast-paced shooter meets Portal.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great elevator pitch.
Right.
Pretty much anything meets Portal.
Forza 5 meets Portal.
All right. That's the exception that proves the rule.
Flight Simulator plays Portal.
Well, I'd play that. Hell yeah, I'd play that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
I would
Yeah.
fly
You're
that.
about to crash, just open a portal. You're somewhere else. Yay. So Splitgate, huh? Yeah, download
Yep.
that.
Yeah, that's good.
So how about you
Yeah.
tell us about your flying? Because that's a segue.
Yeah. Oh God. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Wow.
I'm glad you pointed it out. I was worried no one's going to point out the second.
Yeah. No. So yeah, a few things actually. Now that I'm thinking of it, a few things are happening in life. Obviously, I've started on my end of year lists,
Oh, good.
which yeah, it's about time to get going on those again. So I'm making lists of things I might have missed. That's been fun. The reality is that really I played a bit of Battlefield just to be able to wink at Fawzi. And yeah, I enjoy it. It feels very Battlefieldy, but also a little like fresh, which is nice. I don't really have a full opinion on everything yet, but so far it seems to me like the team did a good job on sort of capturing what Battlefield is, but also making it something else entirely. So I had a good time with that. And then I played a little bit more of Guardians, played a little bit more of Forza. Finally overtook every place I saw your name, Osama, just because Arab. It's not like Arabs are competitive people, but we are competitive people. So it had to happen. I'm sorry.
Don't get too comfortable. I'm gonna start playing
no,
again. and overtake
sure,
you again.
sure. I look forward to hearing about this in 2024. When Forza 6 is about to come in, and you're like, oh no, I mean, it's still ahead in 5.
Oh no. Yeah,
Um,
that checks. That scans.
but yeah, no, it's nice. It's a beautiful game. Lots of different things to do. Really enjoying my time. I have the benefit of indeed being able to type my own name onto the license plate, so I don't blame you for not having played much yet, because
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
I would never get back to a game if they didn't let me do that.
Yeah, I haven't gone
Uh,
back yet, but
right. No,
forgive
I'm
it.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, as soon as they get fix it, they promise the patch is coming soon. When they fix it, I'll feel much better about
Yeah. Good.
starting my progression over with my actual name on the plate. If I'm not allowed to
Nice.
change
Yes,
the plate.
the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, I got a new flight stick, but this one for the Xbox. Did I mention that on the last episode? We were very late with the last episode, so I might have
Pretty
mentioned
sure
it.
you mentioned it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, the new
Mo, did
flight
he
stick
mention
is,
it, Mo?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen to the podcast.
The new flight stick is really good and it's really pleasant. It has veneer style throttles, so like the throttles in a Cessna.
Yeah.
While my normal setup doesn't have those, so that's nice. I have now a more accurate setup on my TV than I have on my PC. A little odd. But also, I went for actual flight training again, and this is the first time in like a week and a half. So I was really, really missing it. But finally got back up into the sky. So
How much do you have left before you get your license?
a lot. We're like 4 lessons in, and I need a lot more hours to be able to actually fly. So yeah, I mean, getting your license is a pretty long process. It's actually a sort of a multi-step process. So
Yeah.
the first part of it, I can only fly dual, which means I can only fly with an instructor,
Mhm.
but we can fly whatever the instructor deems right. Right, so we can fly far,
Yeah.
we can fly close, we can stay near the airport, we can go halfway across the country. The instructor is sort of in charge of the airplane, and during that period, you get basic flight practice. So you get all the basics that you need to control the airplane, to climb, to descend, to take off, to land, to control the radio. What happens in case of like potential collision, like stuff like that. Like just basic stuff you would need to fly an airplane near the airport.
Mhm. So
At that point,
yes, go ahead.
at that point, you do a solo test, right? And your solo test is kind of the most important for aviation flying,
Mhm.
because they're basically the moment where you get to fly an airplane alone,
Mhm.
right? So your solo is kind of the first time you're allowed to fly your own airplane.
And the first
Uh,
time, how do they test you if you're alone in the airplane?
well, if you land and you're not dead, you did it well, I guess.
That's
Fair
good test.
enough. Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it. So that happens about 13 hours in, which is less than 13 effectively. I'm at less than 4 right now. And in those first 13 lessons, they're going to make sure that I'm good enough to do that. It can be a little sooner, but not much, because there's also a minimum of flight hours you need to have before
Yeah.
you can fly your solo. So that's kind of what we've been building up to. And after that, you practice all the other stuff. I need to do a medical test before I can do solo as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be formally complete before that.
Mhm.
Then after that, you learn all the other stuff. You learn navigation. You learn like how to fly through airspace and stuff like that. A lot of stuff I already know because of Flight Simulator, but you formally learn those at that point. And then you do a cross-country test, and then after that, you get your license. And that's usually about 40 to 45 hours.
Wow. Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is you don't have to rush, because I know you're doing all this because you promised me a joyride. I'm patient. I can wait.
Yeah, I know. It's just I really want to have an airplane with a Rami and an Osama in there, and then just see how nervous we can make the people that are there.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
Assalamu alaikum, Rami and Osama gonna take a flight. Inshallah, 2 persons aboard. Short flight.
I want to do it, and I want to live stream it on Twitch.
Just everything is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, we're gonna.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. No, I'm excited for that. But yeah, so that won't happen until I get my PPL, and then at the PPL, I'll technically be able to fly you, but I won't be able to charge you for it. So it's even
that's
better for you.
perfect. That's
Yeah, you enjoy that.
Just
But
stay
anyway.
at that level forever.
On Saturday, I woke up and you check your weather minimums, because there's sort of like requirements for when you can fly.
Yeah.
And they were what we call marginal in that you can fly, but it's generally not really recommended.
I see.
And it was because the cloud base was very low. So the clouds were very low, and that makes flying difficult without instrument. I'm practicing visual flying. So the instructor basically said, well, the lesson is about climbing, and we can't do that because the clouds are low. So instead, we're just going to practice more landing because last week or 2 weeks ago, I had my first one. So he had me do circuits, and circuits exercise is kind of like the most like that's the most common exercise you'll do. And after you get your solo, that's the exercise you'll be allowed to do.
Hmm.
But a circuit is effectively an imaginary racetrack in the sky at a predefined height, and you can fly that circle. And because everybody flies that same racetrack at the same height, it's a lot easier to oversee who's flying in it. So
You showed me
we,
this live in Flight
I did.
Simulator, and it opened up my mind because I'm like, of course, that's how you fit so many airplanes in the same airspace and make sure that they don't,
Right.
crash
And
into each other.
especially with visual flight where there's no traffic tower or air traffic control telling you where to fly or where to go or what runway to take. Having sort of a predictable pattern that people fly in is really important. I think in North America they call it a traffic pattern. In Europe they call it a circuit.
Mhm.
So I did circuit flying, and it was really fun. But my favorite part about it is that you start with takeoff, and then a circuit ends with landing.
Mm.
So we weren't allowed to actually touch the ground frequently. Like airplanes had two landings, or pilots had two landings they could do per flight. But what we could do is basically get the airplane right above the runway at a speed where we would land, and then just like push the throttle all the way up again,
Hmm.
and then take off again. So basically, what we did is we did 7 landings where we just didn't put. We did 6 landings where we didn't put the wheels on the ground,
Mhm.
and then for the 7th one we did.
Okay.
And it's such a fan. Like I don't know how to explain this, but it is such a cool feeling to fly an airplane. Approach is really cool, but there's this moment where you've basically configured your airplane for landing, and you're right over the runway, and you've stopped your descent, and you're pulling the airplane straight, and gravity is slowly winning the fight against lift, right? Against the airplane's ability to fly, and that's how a landing is supposed to work.
Mhm.
You make your airplane lose that fight, and there's this moment where it's just like it's right in between,
Mm.
right? You can feel the airplane like sinking to the ground, and it's such a strange feeling. Like the first time I did the landing, obviously I was so busy with all the checks and knobs and buttons and like making sure I did everything right. But now doing 7 in a row, it just I had so much time to like really get a feeling for everything. And all my circuits were different levels of cleanness. So I did one circuit where I was very late with my final turn, so I had to like correct my position a lot, and it was so much fun. I still have a big smile on my face just talking about it.
I'm really happy
Um,
you got to experience that.
it's so cool. The whole landing thing is so cool. It's so many different forces of nature, and I've always had a fascination with nature and physics and all that. And I've always had a fascination with airplanes, and I've always had a fascination with processes, and I've always had a fascination with like flying. And all of that comes together in landing an airplane so well. Like it's my new favorite hobby. I think is landing an air. Like flying is great, but landing is awesome. Um,
I concur. If you're gonna fly, landing is the best part.
Right. Yeah. Take off is optional. Landing is not. Right.
Exactly.
But yeah. The other thing that was just really surprising to me is when I was younger, I obviously went a lot slower through the program. So we never really got to the point where we were practicing landings a lot.
Mhm.
I practiced a few, but not really like setting the plane down on the ground. The go arounds, basically where you put the airplane above the runway, but then don't land it and then take off again. It's really surprising how quickly the airplane goes from losing lift to just like being able to fly again. Right? Like you just push the throttle thing all the way full and you're flying again. It's just like it's instant. You would think it takes like 2 or 3 seconds to build up speed, but no, this thing is powerful. It was really cool. And then the scariest thing happened. Somebody entered the circuit at the wrong place.
Oh no, there's
And
someone
they did it.
else.
Somebody else entered the circuit at the wrong place. You're supposed to sort of enter it perpendicular to the runway. And these people entered the circuit on one of the corners, where we're not really looking like you're supposed to be aware of traffic everywhere, but like you're mostly supposed to be aware of traffic at that entry point, the sort of predefined entry point. And we were flying, and it was our first takeoff, and we took our first left, and then suddenly I just saw an airplane that flew right under us. And we were at like 250 meters. We were at like 600, 700 feet. We were not that high, and they must have been at like 400 feet. There was only 300 feet between us. That was terrifying because you don't see airplanes that easily. That's why we have the pattern. But we had like it wasn't quite a near miss, but it was definitely not a pleasant. It was definitely not a pleasant feeling. And I saw the airplane before the instructor saw that, so the instructor just immediately took the controls again. I was like, "Nope, I'll fix this." But yeah, you can now look all of that up, and it's the scariest thing in after the flight to just look back at your flight and see these two airplanes flying straight at each other. Me at pattern height, and this other airplane under pattern height, and like with this kind of stuff, you don't really do like blame all that much in aviation because you want people to like fess up to mistakes, learn from them. But God, it's so scary to see these tiny little dots move at each other and then be like, whew, it's good that there was 125-meter between us because that would have been a very sad practice. But, it immediately drives home why those circuits are so important. So
Absolutely.
I had a great time.
It sounds like it. I mean, again, I'm not rushing you, but I can't wait to have the opportunity for you to take me up and show me all of this. Well, maybe not all of it, not the part about you almost crashing into another plane, but the rest.
Yeah, we'll do some stalls practice. And just drop the airplane a whole bunch.
Okay, maybe not that either. Or maybe we won't eat first. At least that's a compromise.
You should eat a little bit.
Yeah.
It does help if you get nauseous.
I'm sure it does. Mo, I mean, I know you don't fly planes, but you like other mechanical things. You love bikes, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you play a sport with them. So that's something that I don't hear about very often. Can you talk about that?
With bikes?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's bike polo. I usually
what's bike polo?
I usually explain it to Canadians as it's hockey on bikes.
Okay, fair.
And I explain it to gamers and game developers as it's Rocket League on bikes.
Smart.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's 3v3. No dedicated goalie. Just rotate through. With just one ball in the middle. You gotta put it in the net.
You do jumps and backflips too.
You'd be surprised. I'm not that good yet, but people do like 360 flips and like wheelie turns and like endo turns, which is like a front wheelie turn. It can get pretty intense.
How do you get started in that? Is it like how popular is it? How many people play this?
In Montreal, we're like 30 to 50 people who play it. It got really popular during the pandemic because it was one of the few things you could do. It's like outdoor sports, so it's relatively safer in terms of COVID, but not in terms of physical health. So we got a lot of the club grew quite a bit, but I got into it through a game dev friend of mine actually. About a third of the club is basically game devs and tech people.
Wow.
But this is Montreal. You can't really throw a stone without getting a game dev somewhere.
It's true. We just talk about that. Like you can't go to a coffee shop and talk shop because you don't know who's listening. It could be someone from.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we had a great season. The season is over now because it's getting under like to freezing temperatures here in Canada. But we had a great season. We had a few tournaments. We had a big one in Montreal. Where
you won?
No, we lost that one pretty badly.
I'm sorry.
A lot of really good players came from all over the country. Yeah. Pretty much. There's a guy who just came in with a kid's bike, like the bike that's only a couple of feet high, and that just messed up everyone's game because he can't deal with that. We're used to like playing against people with the same height, and he just kind of like slip between bikes and under.
Is it legal? Like, do they have?
So far, it is. I don't know if they're gonna change the rules. We'll find out.
If it's that disruptive, it sounds like either they change the rules or everyone should get that bike.
It comes at its disadvantages, but
Okay, I see.
It was pretty funky. It was a lot of fun. It's a young sport, and so a lot of people argue that it's not a sport, it's a game. But
Who
that's a
cares
whole
what
episode
people
on its
say?
own.
You're riding a bike. That's a sport. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's, I don't know what their definition is, but why is it a game and not a sport? There's a physical layer to it. It doesn't make any sense.
I think their definition was like a sport, like a professional sport where people get paid and like it's get broadcasted, like hockey versus a game. There's just like people doing things on.
I don't like that definition. To me, a game versus sport has a physics, and all sports are also. There's no
Yeah.
point.
So is chess a sport?
Chess. That's a very good.
Well, our
I
esports sports.
Yeah, well, they're esports. They have a digital physical component.
Osama, you made the mistake of giving a definition for
Yes,
sport or
yes.
game.
You know
so
what?
now you're getting definition
No,
wired,
no,
and that's just how it's
no,
gonna
no,
go.
no. Let's edit this part out, please. Let's pretend it didn't happen.
I will consider it.
Oh no, you have too much power, Emmy.
I mean, I also have too much work. I should at least benefit a little bit from it.
That's true. That's true. That's fair.
No, but it's good. I mean, I like these kind of discussions about our
Yeah.
medium anyway. It's like
Absolutely.
it's fun to figure out where lines are, and even though nobody actually cares about them or has to care about them, like
Yeah.
it's fun philosophical banter. This is what game developers do to have fun. We go like, so what is a game?
Yeah.
Defining rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. There is not a single definition that everyone agrees. There has
Nope.
not been one.
We haven't even agreed on what a producer is.
Yeah.
What is an alpha? Oh, well, at this company is that. At that company, it's not quite that.
But that's more a failure of language than it is a failure of like our medium, because words have meaning already outside of our, like, for example, the choose your own adventure game, right? Are they games?
Right.
Do you play them, or are they books? And based on your answer, then you've made up your mind already, and you can't use both words. Nobody I know they'll always
book
have
games.
like a bias. Yeah. Are
Game
they
books.
book games? No, they're
Yep.
books. Read them. You make choices. They're interactive, but nobody says, or not many people will say that. But it is, like, by all definitions, except you
All
read
right.
it, you don't play it.
All right, fair.
It's
fair.
bizarre, and but it's a. I don't want to say it's.
But let's just say we internally did screw up alpha beta.
Yeah.
Because those are kind of they're literally the first two letters of an alphabet. It was just us that went alpha means anything between it's a gray box that works all the way to it is a commercially released product that people can play 3 months before launch.
Yes, and that's on us. The more common definition I've seen is alpha means you're feature complete, beta means your content complete, and gold means. Although in this day and age, gold means you have a patch coming. That's as big as the game.
And in indie, I've always used feature complete and content complete as before alpha. So it's or after. It's between alpha and beta, basically. Alpha is sort of like late prototype stage, vertical slicey period of time.
And in AAA, it's all a lie anyway. You're feature complete. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're feature complete, but you start adding features. You're content complete, you're still adding content.
This makes me really happy that you can have 20 game developers from 20 companies in a room and just not agree on what a technical director does. What is a technical? What does it do?
So many different things to so many people.
50 different things.
And like in terms of even like hierarchy, they're like I'm not going to name companies, but one company I worked for, a technical director was at the same level as as an intermediate designer, and another, it was actually a director that had leads under them, and it's the same title, but it means something completely different, because one, you're considering you're a technical director on a feature, and the other, you're a technical director in the hierarchy, but they're using the same word, and it's mind-boggling. But anyway.
There's no way this can cause issues, right?
That's why like role definitions when you're applying for a job are so important. Otherwise, you'll just end up in I know one of the bigger publishers as well. Their game designers are hybrid producers. They're expected to actually follow up on the features and create tasks for the team. It's that. And another company I know of, the major one, their game designers are expected to be programmers who actually put it code their feature as well. To a certain level, and actually it has to they have to make it be able to reach at least 80%. and then they could get code support at that point to do that. And those are very different things. And like we still
Yeah.
have the whole debate of what is a narrative designer? Is it a writer? And every company has a definition of where that line is drawn. Like, oh, our
Yeah.
narrative designers design the system of narrative. Well, ours are also do that, but also no, ours are exclusively, and the term means nothing as a result.
Wild. We're very good at things in games.
Some things, at least. Some
Just
things.
it's one of those weird things about being a young-ish industry where everybody sort of grew their thing separately from each other, but close enough. I guess it's not that different from real language, where there's a lot of
No.
words that are very close to words in other languages, but don't quite mean the same anymore.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And Mo, you have something exciting coming up for? Well, I was gonna say next week, but by the time this airs, it'll be this week.
Yeah. So like we're launching our Steam page for our game we're working on right now. It's called Lucky Me, and it's a puzzle shooter inspired by rap music videos.
Mhm.
So interesting.
Yeah, it started as a game jam game I did, and that was my first solo jam. But the mechanic worked so well that we decided to take it on as a studio and develop it even more.
I remember the game because you showed it at one of the demo nights, I believe. And
Yeah.
yeah, striking. So, how did you come up with the idea?
It was a music video I saw by Eminem where it was called Lucky You, the music video, but the game is Lucky Me.
Yeah.
Where he would have these characters that follow him and do everything he does. So it was
Yes.
about like he's an original rapper and everyone just copies him. And I thought it would be cool to have a game where everyone copies your moves and you gotta get everyone to shoot each other and be the last one surviving.
Yes.
Another way of getting I came up with the idea, which is more funny, was my wife is a AI game designer, and she's been wanting to make a game with me for a while. So I was like, can I make the only shooter that doesn't have any AI in it?
That's perfect.
And it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. It's such a fun game. Like, it is a fun game to play for sure, but it's such a fun game to watch someone play as well.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna share it like a link to the teaser in the show notes and maybe to the show notes.
Inshallah, you will do that.
But that's great. Congratulations on your future congratulations on your launch this week.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the same page. So if you hear this, go up and wishlist it.
And just get some wish lists.
Yeah,
just some little wish lists. Like it's a cool game. I saw it. I think at the same event you saw it, Osama.
Yeah, you were there. You were there at that demo night. Was that the demo night where you ran on stage and fixed someone's computer?
No, that was the one before that.
I see. Okay.
This is a very common Rami story, by the way. Just so like this is not a. It's really hard to define which one that is because I also have a karaoke song about me, which is karaoke but with video game lyrics. So they replaced the lyrics of the song for something else, and it's honestly one of my favorite like games events things is karaoke.
Yeah.
Maraoke. It used to be Marioke, but I think they probably ran into some Nintendo. And then they turned it into karaoke, but then starting with an M. But yeah, so they picked the worst possible song for me, in that it's CS Chandelier.
What?
Got turned into Rami from Flambeer, which
It's not even accurate anymore.
No, it's not. Well, it's a historical song.
Of course.
But yeah, they did that because I fixed karaoke one party when somebody threw some beer over the computer that it was running off of.
Oh, great.
Wow.
And I got it back up and running like pretty fast. So then they made me a song.
How do you fix computer beer? I don't even get it. That's not even a software problem. Did you replace hardware parts?
I honestly do not remember what I did, but I just ran on stage to see if I could be helpful, and then fixed it while Steve Curran was keeping the audience busy. Yeah. So he's very good at that. So that was nice.
Yeah, he's very entertaining.
Funny story about the first time he went up stage and fixed someone's demo. I was there at the event, and then a few years later, we hired a developer.
Right.
And then a few years after that, so it turned out we realized it was the developer you went up and helped. At some point we were talking about the story of like ramming it up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it was me." It's like you've been quiet about this whole thing this whole time.
Wow. Wow, how about that? Yeah, what a strange. But yeah, it's just whenever some of these stuff breaks, like I spend a lot of time on a stage, so I know how like nerve wracking it is when something isn't working. So I just automatically get the like, can I be helpful here? And I think I have enough reputation in the games industry that nobody is confused when I run up on a stage. Right? It's like, oh, it's Rami. Like
That's
just
fine.
let him do his thing. It'll be fine. Which I will say it's really nice that the industry affords me that, because in any other context, me running onto a stage would be terrifying to people.
A 6'5" tall Arab running on stage. Yeah, that's
But in the games industry now, it's like, okay,
okay.
it's really nice.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah, but
story.
it's such a cool game. Can you repeat the name one more time?
Lucky me.
Lucky Me,
Yeah.
based on the song Lucky You.
But it's
Right.
more inspiration by other we take inspirations from other rap music videos as well. So
Mhm,
the original
mhm.
concept is from that one video, but then
There was a lot.
yeah,
It transcended.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are other
What-
modes that like grab elements from other videos and such.
It's just a really cool place to get inspiration from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's such
Right.
a rich culture there, I think.
Right.
And it's mostly untapped. Like other than a few of the Def Jam games and a few indie titles that tapped into it, like it's really like there's not a lot.
Listen,
of...
50 Cent, Blood in the Sand. We're gonna just.
It just got added to backwards compatibility on Xbox, and the price skyrocketed from $5 to $150.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That just happened this week. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not even a great game. Like I don't.
Listen, it's one of the greatest games of all time.
All right, not gonna argue much.
No, you should. It's a mess.
Yeah.
I think it literally starts in like some unnamed Middle Eastern place,
Arabistan.
right? Yes, it starts in Arabistan, and then they get cheated out of money by an untrustworthy person, and then there's like a terrorist called Said
That scans.
and like Layla, and then just explosions happen.
I'm happy you remembered all the important parts.
It's just I remember playing that and being like, wow, okay. And this is before I got into. This is like right before I got into the games industry proper. I think I was still a student, and I think it's one of the games where I first realized that maybe I was getting a little tired
Yeah.
of Arabistan.
Yeah, I feel that.
But yeah, it was just one of those weird things where you're like, what, but what, but why? What a strange game.
So, Mo, you said that this was a game that you've been wanting to make for a while, and I was curious actually, what got you into the gaming industry? What's your path?
I listened to you guys the last episode, and was there or was that the week before that where you're talking about your start and like the
It all blends into one episode now.
I think we spoke about that on the Habibis.
oh, that one, okay.
Yeah.
Accurate.
I had a similar experience. So I grew up in Saudi Arabia, and like I was a gamer since I was a kid. Where my first game console was the Sakher. It's like
Oh,
a
nice.
keyboard that you plug into the TV, and like
Yeah,
it had,
yeah.
two games that I played all the time. I played so much that my family banned games from
Fair.
the house, but that just taught me to how to hide games in the computer. So it just made me better at like computers, and like I would install a game and just delete the shortcut from the desktop and the startup menu.
Of course.
But yeah, I came into Montreal for school. I wanted to be a web designer because that was the closest thing I could think of. I didn't know game development was a thing. I thought
Mhm.
it was magic that people can do that I can't. And then during school, I was doing 3D classes, and some guy was like, "Oh, let's make a mod for Unreal Tournament." Was it 2003 or 4?
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean make a mod?" And then it's like, "Oh, you download the engine, and then you do this." And then like I was drowning a week in googling things and learning everything about it. And then from that point on, it was clear I was just gonna do that. So I dedicated all my classes to make 3D art and games from there.
That's incredible. Do you still have that mod, or is it like online somewhere?
I probably have. I basically made
Really?
Yeah.
level. It was more of a level, but I did it in SWAT 4 editor, which was an Unreal, a slightly modified version of Unreal. But no, like everyone else dropped out of the project, so I just did my side of things where I did the level.
Mhm.
I probably have it somewhere in a hard drive in a box somewhere, but
I used to like. I actually have a similar story. I used to make maps for Unreal Tournament and 4, and I don't have the maps anymore. I can't find them. They might. I kept all my old hard disks, but I tried to look for them. I couldn't find them. But I do have screenshots,
nice.
and I'm both proud of them and embarrassed by them at the same time. I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, this is awful in so many ways. But I made this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I made this with no prior knowledge on how to make it. I was learning while making it, and it worked.
God, how do you
It-
still have all that? I started like 30 years after you, and I don't have all my stuff anymore. I lost everything from my early days.
I just keep my old hard disks. I don't know why. Like I have hard disks that are like 100 megs, 200
I
megs.
guess-
Yeah.
I guess fair. I blew up my first computer, so that complicated things a little.
Yeah.
Did you know that old computers had a voltage switch?
I learned that.
Because it works. It has to work in the Arab world and North America. Because I think most
Yeah,
Arabic
so,
countries work with 240 volts.
yeah. So if you switch that thing, your computer just explodes.
Yeah, I did that mistake. Not on a computer, but on something else, and I'm glad it was not
I'm
a
glad
computer.
it's not a computer.
I'm just extra sad now.
Oh,
Oh
I'm sorry.
no. Yeah.
Um,
I remember the
but yeah.
turbo buttons on the computers, and I was wondering what's the
Oh,
point.
yeah. Why don't we press this one all the
All
time?
the time. It made no
What is?
sense.
Why is this weird?
You launch a game, that button to make it load faster.
Yes.
Right.
It was a compatibility mode button. That's what it was. But I didn't know at the time.
Turbo. It's such a good. It's just a good word. Why did we stop calling stuff cool stuff?
Yeah.
I guess we still kind of do like hyper threading. It's like, okay. I'll respect that.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on naming again. Like, how many things are called blueprints in our industry that don't have anything to do with it? You just say a blueprint, and you
Yeah.
have to specify. A blueprint can be the story of your game, the blueprints of the story. It could be the scripting language in Unreal. It could be the actual schematics that you give players to craft their weapons. It could be like you say blueprints, and everyone's like, which ones? All of those and more can exist in your game simultaneously.
This is true. This is true. At the same time, like creating a different word for what a blueprint is sounds kind of difficult.
It is. It
A
is.
template?
Yeah.
We're gonna do some templating.
Because whatever word you pick, it probably overlaps with other things.
Right,
as well.
exactly. We need to have some sort of like council that like standardizes some language in our games industry.
Yeah, that's the issue. Because I thought about this, and I'm sure you have as well. Like, if we have like 15 conventions and you pull people together to standardize it, all you're going to do is get a 16th convention that no one's going to follow. You think you're solving the problem, but you're actually making it much worse.
Making it worse again.
Because people have tried over and over, but everyone's like, I don't, like I'm used to working this way. What authority do you have? Like, and that's it. It ends there. So you have to find a
Yeah.
different angle, and I can't think of any. How do you find an angle where people actually follow suit?
I know. We changed the language of the games industry to Arabic and then figured it out.
That actually, you're laughing, but I mean, when Fawzi was writing the literal game, the book on Arabic game design, the Arabic book on game, he had to actually coin a lot of terms.
Coin a lot of words because they didn't exist
It
yet.
didn't exist, and now
Right.
he is like he set the standard. So doing that, actually, Arabic is a more consistent language for game development than English. As a result,
Yep. Let's do that. Everybody learns the Arabic. We'll announce it at GDC,
we're way ahead of you.
which we need to rename to the Arabic.
Yeah.
Are we going with video games? Are we just going to phonetically do that, or are we going to say like Alab Electronia or something? Like, I don't know. What are we going to do?
FITIO games. It has to be with an F. We don't have a
Video. Video games.
Or James in most Arabic places. Games would
Right,
just be
yeah.
in Egypt. Right?
Yep.
Game is
Games. Games.
El Games.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's do that. I don't know how we're going to convince people, but I think we have a good idea here.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, we just like throw Rami on a stage with they're used to make an announcement.
Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Of good news and bad news. The good news is everybody who understood that will appreciate this a lot more than everybody who didn't.
That's perfect.
Anyway, Osama.
Yes.
I think we're out of time.
Yes, I'm actually really sad because this is usually the part of the episode where I read out emails. But our viewers, our listeners, our fans have failed us. They did not send me any emails.
I hear the emotion. I hear the emotion.
I am a sad panda. I still love you all, but seriously, no emails. So this segment will go without emails. Instead, it'll be a heartfelt plea to please send us. I don't know how many times I could fit emails in a single sentence, but I managed. I think 6 or 7.
I mean, to be fair, we also only left people like 2 days between the previous episode and this episode. So
fair.
You know,
that's true.
You know,
that's
you
true.
know. Blame it a little on us. Blame it a little on the universe.
That's true.
Mo,
we're really happy that you were able to come on the show and talk about your story. Thank you very much.
And the polo.
Yes,
the polo is awesome. Where are the video games about this?
Rocket League mod incoming, right?
What is happening? Yeah, this is important. Like this is the next thing.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a long dream since the first episode to be on the show.
Aw. Glad to have had you on board.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
For everybody listening, that was another episode of the Habibis. We will be back next week with more Habibis, I guess.
Yes.
More Habibis episodes. I don't know if we're more Habibis.
I don't know.
Less Habibis. Same amount of Habibis.
It'll depend on Fawzi, I guess.
It depends on Fawzi, and it depends on if there is no Fawzi, if there is another Habibi that we get on the show, or 5 extra Habibis that we get on the show. What?
Let's do it.
What?
Let's see how many Habibis we can cram in an episode.
Just try and get the maximum Habibis.
Let's do it.
The maximum Habibis.
Habibis.
What is the worst that could happen? Fawzi leaves for like 1 or 2 episodes. It comes back and we're like a 24 people podcast. It's gonna be great. Gonna be great.
Okay,
anyway,
my life mission now.
For everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with more Habibis. For now, that was it. Salam.
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 That's really good timing on that salam.
I was thinking the same thing.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I was Rami Ismail, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at @THA_Rami. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Fawzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fawzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. The intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubayla, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening, and salam.